5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're in the pipe, 5 by 5.
This is the 5 on Film podcast.
Hello and welcome to 5 on Film, the podcast where we try and break down the top 5 in the world of film. I'm your host, Paul Cree, and this week we're going a little bit Christmassy, but not your traditional Christmas angle. I'm going to welcome my guests this week. We're joined by our regulars, Chris.
Yippee-ki-yay, Kimasabi.
John. Matt.
Merry stinking Christmas.
And we're welcoming back our very first guest back onto our Christmas special, Rob. Here's how the show works, everybody. We're going to try and break down the top 5 non-traditional Christmas movies. We're going to start with first round nominations, where we're each going to try and nominate a film that we believe deserves to be on this week's top 5. Then we're going to, once we hopefully get to 7 films, we're going to keep going until we get to 7. And then once we get to 7 films, we're going to knock 2 of those films out. And then we're going to be left with 5, which we're going to rank as our top 5 non-traditional Christmas films. Bit of housekeeping before we roll into the show. We're on all the socials, which is at 5 on Film podcast. Come and chat to us. Come and chat to us over Christmas. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think of our Christmas list? What do you think of our non-traditional Christmas list? Let us know what you're doing over the Christmas period. Give us ideas for the new year. We would love to hear from you. I hope you're watching us on YouTube as well. I completely forgot that. We're on YouTube now. I hope you're watching us on YouTube. And if you are, thank you very much for joining us on YouTube. And if you're listening to us, come and find us over there. And if you've found us on YouTube somehow through YouTube algorithms, we're on Spotify and we're on iTunes as well. So come and find us on the go when you need us. So this week we're doing one of our Christmas shows. We've already done traditional Christmas films, so we're rolling on to non-traditional Christmas films. So this is a film that involves Christmas, but that is not about the holiday of Christmas. So any story that involves Christmas in some way, Christmas is part of the tale, but it's not a Christmas film. So, Rob, you're our guest this week. Can you give us the first movie for our non-traditional Christmas list?
Okay, well, my first choice is a bit of a controversial one because I know it isn't actually about Christmas. It's actually about another holiday season that's celebrated in the United States, also known as Thanksgiving. So I think some of you may have already guessed which film I'm talking about. It's linked to when I was last on the guest on the show. It's a John Hughes film. It's Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Now, yes, I know they were trying to travel home for Thanksgiving, but when I first saw the film, I just thought they're getting home for Christmas because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the United Kingdom. So, and I just think it's such a beautiful film. It's funny. There's lots of snow. Snow's Christmas, isn't it? And it's about getting home to see family. And Christmas is partly about family. You know, getting home to sort of spend a special period of time with family. And these two guys that are sort of forced together to try and both get home to Chicago.
So, Rob, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. The Thanksgiving
Controversial,
movie.
I know.
It is a bit controversial. The Thanksgiving movie for the Christmas season. Chris, would you consider this a non-traditional Christmas movie? Does it deserve to be on this list?
As you've asked me that directly, Paul, I won't be able to ease Rob into my answer. No, it's not a Christmas film. I I deliberated over the last one that we did with traditional Christmas, and I cut out some of my favourite films and my favourite Christmas films than the last one. So I feel I'm going to have to stick hard to what I would perceive to be alternative Christmas films. And unfortunately, Rob, as amazing a film as Planes, Trains and Automobiles is, I do not see it as a Christmas film. Sorry.
Okie dokie. John, what about you?
I'm pretty much of the same mind. It's yeah, no, I'm of the mind that no, it's a Thanksgiving movie.
It is. I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obviously just it's a Home Aloner. So, but no, it wouldn't go on my list.
Okay, Matt, to keep it alive, would you consider Planes, Trains and Automobiles an alternative Christmas film?
Well, all four of you know that from the last time and from hearing me blather on about planes, trains, and automobiles for so long and so many times before, that yeah, I do view this as a Christmas movie. For me, this is my Christmas movie, along with two or three other ones that I try and watch every season. You only have to look at my Instagram page. There's a big poster of planes, trains, and automobiles on there. Posted last Christmas, just like so excited it was Christmas I could watch this again. And I adore this movie. I really, really do. But that being said, as much as I love this movie and as much as I would champion it to the world ends, I just can't put it on this list because I think there are maybe 5 other films that just fit the category. They aren't better films, that aren't more Christmassy to me, but maybe to other people that are just better suited to our topic this week. So unfortunately, I'm going to say no, and I hate myself for saying no, but unfortunately, sorry,
No
dude.
worries. No problem.
So it doesn't matter what I think, because unfortunately, Rob, it hasn't made it. And I think I would have agreed with the rest of the guys. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I think it's just when we did John Hughes, I hadn't watched Plane, Trains and Automobiles for years, and I watched it for that podcast, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it, and I even thought about watching it again like this week because it was Thanksgiving in America, so we're recording this early. And I felt like it's a Thanksgiving movie, and although we don't celebrate that in the UK, it hasn't quite made it onto my list either, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So
The best John Hughes movie,
Like I
though.
said, it was very.
The best John Hughes movie. We all know that. We all know that. It was there.
I must stress that not all my choices are John Hughes films. I do love other films that are not John Hughes. Just in case anyone's thinking, who's this guy? He's just John Hughes obsessed.
Just
worry.
John Hughes obsessed. Yeah.
John Hughes' illegitimate son. That's who it is.
Oh, you're humbled.
Right. Well, let's roll on to another choice. I'm going to change it up this week. So, Matt, going out of order, what would you like as our next pick on Alternative Christmas?
There's quite a few choices, isn't there? There's quite a few.
There is.
I'm glancing shadily down into the corner because I got a little list down there. I'm gonna go for a film from 2003 that, for me, epitomizes the alternative Christmas completely. It really does. It's got one of the best performances, comedic and characteristic performances that I think I've ever seen, by Billy Bob Thornton. So I am going to throw into the ring Bad Santa from 2003, directed by Terry Zwigoff, or Zwigoff, not sure how you pronounce it. Starring Billy Bob Thornton, John Ritter as the very funny manager of one of the. Let me go back and just quickly give a quick synopsis. Imagine the worst person in the entire planet, and times it by a million. The most foul-mouthed, despicable, no morals, shady, just the most awful person in the world. Who is a misanthropist, he's a misogynist, he hates everybody, he hates kids, and he plays. This is Billy Bob Thornton's character. He plays a Santa, and along with Terry Cox, who is I forget their names. I've got them written down somewhere. But he plays his sidekick, the bad-tempered elf, the little person, as they politically correctly describe him. There are many other unpolitically correct ways they describe him in the movie, which I can't possibly say on here. It's a brilliant movie. They pose as a Santa Claus in department stores over the Christmas period, and they proceed to, on Christmas Eve, rob the department stores of all their money, and make off for the rest of the year to do it again the following year. And it's so foul, it's so funny. It's one of those films that you just absolutely have to see if you've never seen it before. It's got some wonderful lines in it that I can't repeat on here. One of the less dodgy ones, one of my favorite less dodgy ones, is where one of the kids is sitting on Santa's lap, on Billy Bob Thornton's lap, and he pulls his beard down. And he says, "What? Your beard? It's not your real beard. What happened?" And Billy Bob Thornton says, "Oh yeah, I got really sick and it fell off." And he said, "How did you get sick, Santa?" And he said, "I loved a really unclean woman." And it just that sums it up. And that's one of the type of kind of really crass humor that is in this film, but you can't help but laugh in it. And it's got some great side characters in it. You've got Bernie Mac, who plays the store detective, who's just he's so, I can't even describe his character. He's so kind of like aloof to everything, but at the same time he's on it, and he knows what's going on, and it's just brilliant. There's so many funny things in it that you can only kind of I don't even want to spoil it. I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it epitomizes the list that we're doing tonight, and I definitely think it deserves a place on the top 5 without a doubt, 100%. Very funny, very rude, but very funny.
John, what do you think of Bad Santa?
Bad Santa. It's one of the ones I haven't managed to catch up with. So actually, I haven't seen this one. To be fair, it sort of epitomizes the kind of film that I kind of avoided, like Jackass and things like that. The base level stuff that I just never really got into and got to see. So unfortunately, it's going to be a very fast no.
Okay, Rob, do you like Bad Santa?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I've not seen it either. But it sounds, I must admit, it sounds like the sort of film I think I would enjoy. So, yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to sit on the fence, and I'm going to have to put it on my to-do list, and hopefully it'll be on TV this Christmas so I can finally get to see it. But just seeing the clips there, and from what Matt was describing, it does sound like good fun. A good fun holiday season movie. But I'll have to say no. I'll have to say no because I haven't seen it. Yeah.
So I'm going to come to me because I'm going to say yes, Matt. It's in my top 7. I really like Bad Santa. I went to see Bad Santa at the cinema. I thought it was hilarious. I think Billy Bob is brilliant in the movie. It's heartfelt yet adult laughs. I think it's a great non-traditional Christmas movie. I hope both John and Rob check it out. And I've now made Chris decide whether it's going to make it onto this list or not. So, Chris, Bad Santa, is it going on or is it not?
Well, I thought I was going to be in the minority with this. I'm really sorry, Matt. I've not seen it either.
Wow.
I'm kind of like John with this. It's I don't like films with horrible people doing horrible things. So I kind of actively avoided it, I'm afraid. Sorry.
They try
Yeah,
so hard to redeem him in the end. They really do try so hard to
yeah,
redeem him, but
yeah.
it is one of those films where you have to
I
take it
mean, he's
with
not a
a
nice
grain of
person.
salt. Yeah, you take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, that's fine. If you're not into that, then that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a film critic. There's a film journalist I listen to his podcast, and he talks about the bell end factor or the arsehole factor, and this just this film just kind of just from the outside looks like it epitomizes that to me.
Could you,
So
John? Could you expand on that, please? Genuine question. Like what?
basically, everybody. So basically, the idea being that if everybody in the film is a complete and utter arsehole and bad person, an irredeemable person, then I just can't watch it. I just can't
It's called
actually.
Bad Center. I mean, it's called Bad Center. I mean, you
Yeah, I
know what
know.
you're getting
I
into
mean,
when you go and see
it's
it.
but it's telling me
Yeah,
right up front that I'm probably not going to like this film. So
yeah. Well, I would say it is worth a watch if you can find it on Christmas Eve night. It's definitely an adult film. It's not for the kids. Okay,
I could
Chris.
tell from the trailer.
Chris, what have you got for us this week? Can you give us the first one?
So, do I go with the obvious, or do I go with one of the others? I think because ahead of time we did something slightly differently, and John's doing some wizardry with the visuals and the audio and the visuals. So I hope you don't mind me sharing this with the audience. We submitted our 10 to John so that he could prepare some clips. And it came about that there were 30 films in total that we'd listed. Is that right, John?
yeah, that's about
Roughly,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So based on that, I'm concerned that if I don't nominate this film, it might get lost. I don't know. I really hope not. But I think it would be remiss of me not to just go straight in with not only my favorite Christmas film of all time, but one of my favorite films of all time. So much so that I actually mentioned it in my wedding speech. I'm nominating Die Hard. Die Hard is one of the greatest films ever made. It stars Bruce Willis as Detective John McClane, and he's visiting his wife, estranged wife, at her new apartment blocks. Her new work, the Nakatomi Plaza, in LA. And he's flown from New York, and he goes to a Christmas party, and during the Christmas party, Hans Gruber, played by Alan Rickman, along with his group of European terrorists, storm the building and take everyone hostage, and John McClane has to go on a rescue mission and try and take out all the terrorists and save his wife and save all the other Nakatomi employees without being killed by the terrorists. It is an amazing film. I love it. I watch it all the time, no matter what time of year. Bruce Willis is amazing. It launched his career as an action star. Same with Alan Rickman. And it's just instantly quotable. It's funny. It's full of action. It's just awesome. I can't say I can't express how good a film this is.
Okay. Um,
I'm getting
Rob?
giddy thinking about it.
Rob, is Die Hard going to make this list?
It's interesting because I've got into so many arguments with so many people down the years, as I'm sure a lot of people have, about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. For me, yes, I think it is a Christmas movie. I was fortunate enough to get to go to watch it again on the big screen about this time last year. And during the film, just to verify that it is a Christmas movie, I actually made note and counted how many times there was a Christmas reference, and I lost count. I totally lost count. Down to, well, his estranged wife is called Holly, I believe. It was a Christmas party. Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a machine gun, etc., etc. It's just endless references to Christmas. It's an excellent movie. It's thoroughly watchable. Like Chris, I've watched it so many times. It's superb. So, yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely on the list.
Matt?
Yeah, of course. Of course, you can't put a Christmas list together without putting Die Hard at least near the top. Man, he's the Prince of Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah, absolutely. He's got to go on. I mean, a great year, 1988, wasn't it? 1988. Good year. I remember it being a very good year. A year for like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Films like, oh God. Anyway, it's a great film. Great film. It's got to go on. It can't not go on. Fantastic. Take it on.
Well, it's on. That is the first one that's made the list. 3 votes. It's there, Chris. John, I'm assuming a yes.
Yes, of course it's a yes. It's yes, of course it is. Come on. You can argue it as much as you like, but it is a Christmas film.
It is a Christmas film, and
I think it's
I
become
agree
a
with Chris.
Christmas film. I think it's become a
It
Christmas
is.
film, hasn't it?
Yeah.
5 yeses, and I like the fact that Chris. The first thing Chris said was that you can watch it any time of year because the film was released in June. It was not released at Christmas time. It was released as a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Hey, we won a pub quiz on that one.
We did.
We did.
I remember that. Yeah. I think it was about the only answer I got right that night.
Yeah.
So yeah, Die Hard. 5 yeses. It is there. So
Excellent.
John, can you give us the second one on the list?
Right. Okay. Well, for me, I'm going to say that of all the ones that, well, if Die Hard's off the table, because Die Hard's already there, I think that films that I think that an alternative to Die Hard would be Batman Returns. Now, I think the Batman Returns is I think Batman Returns is probably the most Christmassy, the most Tim Burton, the most comic book, the most stylish, the most sexy. It is a lovely piece of work. It's the most gothic. It's the best sets. It is Bo Welsh doing what he does best. Tim Burton getting the money to do exactly what he wanted to do with Batman. It's Michelle Pfeiffer being excellent in the PVC outfit. It's Michael Keaton really getting to be Bruce Wayne and Batman, and you actually seeing the dichotomy of the character. You get Christopher Walken being Christopher Walken, and you get Danny DeVito being the most disgusting penguin person, Birdman ever, and yet it all works. The car is great. The fights are brilliant. The tension is cool. And when the Christmas princess, the whole kidnapping of the framing of Batman, it's great. I really like this film. And this, for me, is definitely an alternative Christmas movie. if not a Christmas movie.
Okay. I'm out of order, but so Matt, Batman Returns.
Do you know what? I've
Is
only
it?
ever seen this film once.
Okay.
Yeah, in the cinema. I never watched it again after that. And I don't know why. I'm gonna sit on the fence. I'm gonna recuse myself and say I haven't seen it nearly enough to comment on whether I would consider it to be put on the list.
Okay.
No, that for me, I can't say yes to that.
Chris?
This is a great nomination, John. It's my number 3. I love this film. I totally agree with all your sentiments. It's the most Tim Burton. It's the most gothic. The biggest budget to play with. It's a fantastic cast. I love this film. It's a yes from me.
Okay. Rob, Batman Returns. Do you like a bit of Danny DeVito as Penguin?
He was amazing. This is my favourite of all the Batman movies. I think it's just superb. I agree. What a brilliant cast. Fantastic. The characterizations, the costumes, the storyline. It's just brilliant. I love it. Yeah, it's a definite yes for me.
Okay. Batman Returns has made this list. Now, I have to admit, I didn't think of this film when I was making the list. So that's my bad. But Batman Returns is great. So I probably would have said yes, even though I didn't submit it as one of my options, which means that we're now like to 31 films or something. I don't know, no, because it would have already been there. But I'd completely forgotten. So yeah, I'm happy with it being there. So make that 4, John. Okay, so we're round to me. We've taken Die Hard off the field, Chris. So I'm gonna go for a comedy, and I'm going to go for a comedy about a pair of brothers who own a brokerage firm in New York, and they decide one year that they need to play with their employees, and they need some meaning in their life. So they decide to see if they could destroy one man's life, and they could take somebody who has very little and give him everything. I'm nominating Trading Places. I think Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd are absolutely brilliant in this movie. I think Dan Aykroyd is perfect playing this character that just Lewis Winthorpe III, who has just been taken down by these two gentlemen, framed, his life turned upside down, lost his home, lost his job, lost his relationship with his fiancée, and they've given everything to Billy Ray Valentine, played by Eddie Murphy. There is a very, very young Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. I believe it was one of her very first roles. It wasn't her first role, but it was not long after Halloween. And I think the cast come together brilliantly. It's hilarious. It is definitely a Christmas movie for me, and it's up there as one of the best alternative Christmases. So, Rob, Trading Places?
I have to steal a phrase of one of my friends who quoted many, many years ago. They said that Christmas officially starts when you see Dan Aykroyd eating a fish through a beard. And I couldn't agree more. I think you know the particular scene I'm talking about, where he goes on a bit of a, without too much of a spoiler, he goes on a bit of a meltdown. I love this film. I think it's one of the best comedies of all time. There's one particular scene that's not politically correct by today's, by any standards, on the train. But that aside,
At least one.
At least one, yeah. I mean, but that's the one particular one. I won't refer to, but any further. But aside from that, it's hilarious. It's so clever. It's so funny. brilliant performances. It's Christmas through and through. It's great. Yeah, it's a definitely yes from me.
Nice one. John? Trading Places?
Yeah, Trading Places. I like this film. It's kind of right up there with Coming to America, actually. Again, John Landis. Yes, again, it's Eddie Murphy. But it kind of cruises on everybody's goodwill, and I like it. I mean, it's nice to see Dan Aykroyd going from really squeaky clean and moneyed right down into the gutter, and then having to deal with Jamie Lee Curtis, and then Billy Ray, Eddie Murphy, going the other way, and just getting the chance. Even to the point where in coming to America, the prince is out on a date. He ends up giving money to two bums, and it's the two guys from the end of this, the two old guys. Yes, this is actually a good choice for me.
Nice one. Trading Places has made the list. Matt, do you like Trading Places?
Yeah, that's one of the three that I watched is Die Hard, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, and Trading Places. As Rob said, Christmas doesn't start until you watch these movies. And that scene he's talking about is brilliant. I crease myself up every time I see that. And the dog is so disgusted by him that the dog pees on it. It's just so funny.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
It's brilliant.
And the remarkable thing is at the end, the denouement of it all, which I won't spoil, but when they're on the trading floor at the end, having no experience with stocks and shares or trading at all, I was really intrigued last time I saw it, how it actually happened and what the shorting of the stock and stuff. And it's fascinating. If you look at it, there's quite a lot of information on the internet about how accurate what they did on the film and how it was scripted and how the plot played out, that it's actually to the money almost exactly as it was scripted, as it would happen in real life if they'd have done it. And it's just fascinating. So whoever was writing that script, they got a very good researcher to come in and make sure that was all tip top. A brilliant Denham Elliott, brilliant Eddie Murphy. Dan Aykroyd's never. Well, I want to say he's never been better. Yeah. He has been great in a lot of things, but for me in this, he plays the up and down, the posh to the gutter in such a great way. And Eddie Murphy was sailing it on his high rise on his star upwards from was it 48 hours before this, and then this movie just catapulted him into huge stardom. He's never been better. I mean, his films in the 80s were amazing. And this is one of the best films from the 80s, from 1983, early on, but one of the best comedies of the 80s. And I remember watching it with my dad, and I must have only been about 11. It's one of my dad's favorite movies. And the scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis, he would always like nudge me and wink and go, there's a good scene coming up. And I'd be like, okay, cheers, Dad. Brilliant, love it. It's got to go on.
It has made it on there. Chris, would have you said a yes to Trading Places?
It's my number 7, so I'm happy with it going on. I think it's a great film. That scene that Rob mentioned with Dan Aykroyd stuffing his pockets, dressed as Santa, stuffing his pockets full of food, and it's great. And yes, potentially my sexual awakening with Jamie Lee Curtis there. And I mean, thinking about it seriously, it's a great film. It's a great look at class divide and race divide, and then turning it on its head. It's a great film.
It is. Right. Well,
I just remembered. I love the bit where he tries to commit suicide, and he the gun he's been using to threaten everybody with, he goes to shoot himself.
Yeah,
it doesn't go off. He throws it away. It goes off and shoots a window.
So it is
little touches.
It's outstanding.
That are in it. So good.
So, after one round, we have 3 films on our list. So far, we've got Die Hard, Batman Returns, and Trading Places. So, Rob, we're back round to you, mate. What have you got for your second nom?
Right, it's another John Hughes film. No, it's not. I'm joking. It is. Right, I've gone soppy for this film, so I think you may already have an idea which one I'm going for. But I love it for its soppiness and lots of different interwoven stories that all seem to merge and combine towards the end of the movie. It's Love Actually. I love this film. I think it's brilliant. I think it's funny, it's sweet, it's charming. Great cast. It's just a lovely film. It's a nice film. Yes, there's one particular bit which is a bit creepy. I think we know which bit, on the doorstep with the cards. That's a bit of a creepy moment. But aside from that, love this film. It's great.
Nice one. Matt, do you love Actually?
I'm not
Do
sure.
you love Love Actually?
Sorry, that was all I
need
could
that
do
in-
off the cuff.
I don't know. This wouldn't be. I know everyone says, oh, it's a Christmas movie. It's Christmas. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It's my least favorite of the Richard Curtis scripted movies. I know he directed this one as well. Again, I've only ever seen this once. And I remember it was all right. It was all right. I don't know. Am I a heartless bastard? Am I Christmas grump? What's going on? I think that might be it. I think
The Grinch.
the Grinch. I must be the Grinch. I don't know. Maybe I need to see it again, or I'm just like really kind of like I just don't believe in love or something. I don't know. No, that's a no.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm going all out
Okay.
of order today, and I'm going with me next, Rob, because I'm gonna say 100% yes. I think this is Richard Curtis's best movie, to completely counter Matt there. This is my most enjoyable scripted Richard Curtis movie. I think all of the characters come together really well. There's characters that you really love in this movie, and there's characters that you really hate in this movie. Alan Rickman has popped up again, and his character does not come off well in this movie.
He's a bad boy.
I think he is. I think that the movie sings all the way through. I think I think it's a brilliant Christmas movie. I love the end. For me, it's a definite yes for this list. John? What do you think?
I think that I think Richard Curtis threw enough at the movie for it to just get by in the good books. And there are some very interesting stories in it, and there are some really great performances. Emma Thompson in particular, Laura Linney is a great one.
Yeah.
She's
but
fantastic.
then you have Chris Marshall, who is just the weirdest story. It's almost like he came up with so many different ideas and then couldn't quite tie them all together. So he threw them all in a film. I don't know why he did it to himself, to be fair, because there are certain strands in here that if he actually developed a longer film, a better film, concentrating on those, it would have been brilliant, and it would have still been funny. I love the Liam Neeson and his stepson relationship, where the whole running through the airport at the end. That's actually that's really cool. But there are just some really cringeworthy moments in it as well, which don't quite work. So,
there are. I agree with you. There are some cringy moments. I'll give you that.
it's kind of lower on my
Still
list.
Christmas.
It is.
In fact, the whole point is it's the run up to Christmas. Isn't it 7 days before Christmas and Billy's record? So
Christmas is all around, John.
it is. Yeah, go on. Why not? I think
No.
I think there is a good enough case to be able to argue that one. So
Nice one. So there's 3 votes. So it's got on the list. Chris, would have you said yes to Love Actually?
Yay.
No, I would not.
Why don't you like it, Chris? I just need to know what's wrong with it.
It's too schmaltzy and
Exactly the
it's a
words
bit
I was supposed to
disjointed
say.
for me. And I don't like some of the story strands.
Okay.
Also,
Well,
Emma Thompson's character, absolutely heartbreaking. That's
Oh, it was heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Devastating. What happens to her?
but so is Laura Linney's character. I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair to the film, it does kind of pull from almost every kind of walk of life there could have been. Most of them being middle class upwards. It does actually have a fair reflection of the sort of situations that could be going on in your neighbour's house at this moment in time, apart from the Prime Minister coming around and knocking on your door.
Yeah,
So
Boris
to a
Johnson
certain
coming to the
extent,
door,
That happens all the time.
asking you out. Yeah.
well, yeah, I can kind of see that happening, but
I mean that is a little bit plausible. Right. Anyway,
Right.
It's made it. I'm glad it's made it. It may have had a little bit of pressure in, but it has made it. So Love Actually has made the list.
Excellent.
So Matt, what have you got for your second nomination?
Well. I'm gonna go for. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for Gremlins. Let's go for Gremlins. I like Gremlins. Let's put Gremlins on the list. I think it's a brilliant movie. It's a Christmas movie. It's Christmas time. It's one of those movies that I grew up with. I love dearly. Holds a special place in my heart. Very nostalgic. Obviously, it's a big pull for anyone in what we're doing. You know, we're talking about things that we've seen, loves that we've had in movies, and for me, you know, I do watch this. You know, I try and watch this every year. Whenever it's on television, I'll try and watch it. I can't wait for my 12-year-old might be able to. Yeah, I think so. She'd probably be fine with it now. So that, you know, that this year I might sit down and try and watch it with her. Everyone knows Gremlins. Everyone knows Mogwai. Everyone knows the rules of the Mogwai. You know, I loved that. They were so cute. I loved the idyllic Steven Spielberg kind of setting, and even though it's only produced by him. Great story. It's that kind of evil. What would you say? The monster in the cupboard, the monster in the closet. It's playing with all those fears that you have as a kid, especially in the 80s with all the Cold War stuff that was going on. There's a lot of that kind of Cold War stuff going on in there, and you know, if you read between the lines, it's great. Very funny as well. Very funny, and spawned a very funny underrated sequel as well, which people should try and check out. I don't know why that's not more popular. Brilliant film, special effects. I'm not sure who they were. Was it Stan Winston? It might have been Stan Winston. It usually is around those times. Brilliant special effects. The puppetry, the artistry in it's wonderful. The location work. I think a lot of it was filmed on the back lot. But yeah, it's got pace, it's got style, it's got heart, it's got character. And I love the bathroom buddy. I mean, who didn't want a bathroom buddy? I love, you know, who didn't want that little square thing with the toothbrush and the razor and the squirty shaving foam? Brilliant, loved it. And hopefully for this list, I can finally get one on.
Okie doke. John, Gremlins making it on?
Yes, I. This is probably my first scary Christmas film. Where people are, you can't. This was around about the time where it's the birth of VHS. So, and I remember that the Christmas this came out on VHS, my family were watching it down one end of the room, and I was programming a ZX Spectrum up the other.
Of course you were, John. Of course you were.
Well, yes, I was. Well, it was the only way I was going to play a game on it.
Didn't you have Jet Set Willy?
No, Jet Set Willy, mate. But yeah, no, it was yeah, and it actually really scared me. Actually, some of the tension in it, some of the tensions in it were actually quite scary. And Phoebe Cates's story about her father has gone down in infamy. But the old lady whose stair lift gets tampered with, and the bit in the cinema at the end. The bit in the cinema is all the comedy
White,
you really need.
Snow White,
yeah. And drinking in the pub as well. And my cousin was actually very good at doing the Mogwai song, which I'm not going to do here. So yeah, this one. No, my voice is way too deep for that now. I don't have the falsetto for that one. But yeah, no, I like this one. I like Joe Dante films, and I think this is probably one of his best. So yeah.
Cool. That's 2 votes. Chris, Gremlins going on this list?
I remember it.
Wow! Can we give him a clap for that? We got to play out with that. Fantastic. Well done.
He did that, and he hasn't even seen the film.
Number 2.
Like, how did you?
Yeah, I totally agree with all the sentiments, Matt. It's a fantastic film, and yeah, probably one of my first kind of scary films that I watched when I was probably a bit too young. But what a year to come out! 1984, Ghostbusters, Terminator, Neverending Story, Karate Kid. Amazing year for film. It's a great film and a great sequel. I had a sequel poster on my wall for years. Yeah.
The new batch.
Yeah.
The new batch.
It's scripted by Chris Columbus, wasn't it? It's scripted by Chris Columbus. Goonies and Mr. Harry Potter and all that lot. It's a good movie. It wasn't Stan Winston, by the way. It was some other chap who did special effects. I can't leave it without saying they were designed by Chris Wallace. Sorry, if someone's watching, I don't want to give kudos to somebody who didn't do it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's made the list.
Film role.
It was. Well, he's so young in that, isn't he? He's really, and then didn't he go on to do the Lost? Was it the Lost Boys? No, it was Goonies after that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and then Lost Boys
Goonies
after that.
Rob, would have Gremlins made it for you? It's there anyway.
Now it's funny because I have not seen Gremlins since I saw it at the cinema back in when it was first released. But I don't remember a lot of it. That's obviously a long time ago, showing my age. But I loved it. I laughed all the way through. I was very entertained. So yeah, a very quick yes.
Nice one. I probably would have said yes, but it was on the lower end of my list. Only because I love Gremlins too. I love it more than the first one.
More than the
Gremlins-
first
But
one.
Gremlins 2 isn't a
I love
Christmas
it.
film.
It's close,
It
but it's not a
isn't.
Christmas film, as Joel said.
But it's not. So obviously it can't go on this list. But I think that because I love the second one more than I love the first one, it kind of knocked my appreciation of the first one. I don't if that makes any kind of sense. So it was like I had it at 8. So I probably would have said yes anyway. So yeah, it was it's definitely a quality non-traditional Christmas movie. So Gremlins has made
Do you
the
know
list,
what?
Matt.
I think, thank God, finally I've got something on there. Do you know what? I think if we ever did an underrated movie list, I think Gremlins 2, the new batch, would get on there. It's a really good
Oh,
movie. It is really, really
It
good.
is
It's
really
pure
good.
comedy.
Yeah, it's just
It's
funny,
pure comedy.
really funny.
It's
Yeah.
great. It was so funny.
So we've got 5 films, believe it or not: Die Hard, Batman Returns, Trading Places, Love Actually, and Gremlins. So Chris, you got number 6?
Okay. I had 3 Tim Burton films on my top 5.
3.
And
Ooh.
yeah. My number 4 is Edward Scissorhands. I didn't do a rewatch for this one, so just going off memory, this is about an inventor played by Vincent Price, his last film role, and he creates a man robot
Automaton, something like that.
played by Johnny Depp, and he gives him scissors for hands, and it's a very Tim Burton film. It's very gothic. Is it his first big film? Is that right? That was his first one, or was it after
Well,
Batman?
it came after Batman and Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Oh, Beetlejuice is of course,
So,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah. And Vincent Price, his dad dies, and then Winona Ryder's character finds him in this abandoned mansion, and she kind of takes him out of there because he's just sat doing nothing, and he is integrated into 50s suburbia, and it's a story about how to fit in. It's very kitsch. It's very funny. Also very dark. It's great. It's perfect. Classic Tim Burton. Johnny Depp's amazing in it. Winona Ryder's fantastic. Production design's top. Yeah, love it. Really good film.
Okay. So, Rob, Edward Scissorhands, non-traditional Christmas.
I've not seen this film for a long time. I need to watch it again. But I remember that I loved it. I mean, I love Tim Burton films anyway. I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. In fact, I watched Beetlejuice. It was on TV again just the other week, and I laughed my socks off. Yeah, I love this film. I think it's brilliant. I must admit, I didn't recall it being having any reference to Christmas. I'm a bit torn as to whether I can wholeheartedly say yes for it going on the list. But I'm going to say yes because I loved it. So if that's allowed.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to jump in next, and I'm going to say no, for the very reason that you've just said, because it did not jump out as me as a Christmas movie, and it hasn't done. Now that doesn't detract from its quality. It is a very good film, and I remember I'm pretty certain I went to the cinema to see this at a relatively young age, and enjoying it. But for me, it just doesn't jump out as a Christmas movie. And maybe that's because it's been so long since I've seen it and stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't evoke any Christmas nostalgia or feelings for me. So for that, it didn't make my list of non-traditional Christmases. So I'm afraid it's a no from me. So Matt, What about you?
Oh, again, this is a tough one, isn't it? This is a tough one. I see it as a Christmas movie, but very much like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I don't think it has enough of that Christmas spirit. I don't think it has enough of that Christmas feel to it. I don't think there's any references at all to Christmas in it. It's just got that um, sensuousness, that kind of glittery, fairy kind of, that goodness that you get from Christmas, that kind of everything's going to be all right and you're enveloped in this beautiful soft blanket kind of feeling. That's what you get, although it's got all these Tim Burton gothic elements to it, and it's slightly scary in places, it's a little bit creepy in places, it's a little bit gory in places, but it has that kind of Christmas. It's got a feeling about it, hasn't it? And I think that's what people associate Edward Scissorhands with Christmas, alternative Christmas movies. As Paul said, yes, it shouldn't distract from how magnificent this film is, and I do personally think this is. I've got top three Tim Burton films, and this is in there. But I just, for that reason, that it's just not Christmassy enough, I can't put it on because I didn't do it with the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And I love this movie to death, and it's on my top 10 or top 12 list here. But I just can't, yeah, I think it's not Christmassy enough. That's being a real stickler because we've only got two places left. Sorry, two.
Okay, so
Fair enough.
John, it's come down to you. 2 and 2. You get to decide.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a no, because apart from the fact that he does ice sculptures and the magical realism that Tim Burton brings to it, it doesn't feel like Christmas to me. It's not. It's too sunny and bright, and I just no. It's a no from me. So
Okay.
unfortunately, no.
So Edward Scissorhands doesn't make it onto this list. So, John, we're around to you. What have you got for second nom?
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with an old classic. It is
Ooh.
in the Die Hard vein,
Ooh.
and I can't quite remember if it came before Die Hard or after.
Are you too old for this, John?
I'm very too old for this. It is Riggs,
Oh, I know
which
it.
is Myrtle. It starts with Jingle Bell Rock. He's watching Bugs Bunny handing out wreaths as he's trying to commit suicide. The Murtaugh's house is fully decorated. It's Lethal Weapon. It's an action staple. I don't know whether it was this or Die Hard which came first, because this is kind of like the birth of the modern action film. The kind of the buddy cop movies, one man against implausible plots. I like Mel Gibson. I know he's out of fashion at the minute, but his roles have actually been his early roles, especially. He's very good at playing the outsider and the slight nut job. His character kind of goes off in the next three. In the next three, and maybe even the fifth one if it comes. Apparently, it's on the horizon. But the fact that the police car comes crashing through the window, and Mr. Joshua shoots up just as he says, "It's goddamn Christmas." It's got all the trappings. It's the typical Shane Black. I have to write Christmas into it. I have to write this story at Christmas. Christmas film. So yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Okie dokie. I'm going to say yes. I like Die Hard. I liked Lethal Weapon. It came out first, John. It was 1987 for Lethal Weapon. Die Hard was
It-
1989.
89.
Yeah, 89
No,
Die
no,
Hard,
it's
87 Lethal
Die
Weapon.
Hard was 88.
No,
88 Die Hard.
88 Die Hard,
88.
Lethal Weapon 89.
Hold on. No,
I just looked it up.
87.
87 is Lethal Weapon.
87. The year before.
Lethal Weapon
So-
2, I think, was 89-90. So
Yeah.
But-
So
I was only guessing that Lethal Weapon was earlier, based on Mel Gibson's mullet. Just thinking of like 80s mullets and what have you. He says with the sort of mullet himself, with
Mel
some
Gibson
irony. But...
is not in favour at the moment, but back then he was a movie star. He's still in favour in terms of directing.
He's still in
and,
favour. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine, honestly.
We always separate art from artist in this podcast, and in terms of what he makes, in terms of behind the camera and front of the camera, he's brilliant, and he was brilliant in this. And I think that Lethal Weapon is one of the best action movies ever made. So yeah, I'm saying it has the Christmas feels as well. Not quite as much as Die Hard, but definitely enough Christmas references in there to make this a non-traditional Christmas action movie. So, Rob, what do you think?
Again, I love this film. There's another one I went to see when it first came out. I like all the Lethal Weapon films, actually. I think both Mel Gibson and Danny Glover are just superb. It's funny, I'd actually forgotten that there were Christmas references until I rewatched it, and like, but it's a very entertaining film. It's brilliant. The chemistry between the two of them is so good. The comedy, the action, storylines, and yeah, it makes reference to Christmas. So yes, it's a yes from me.
Nice one, John. It's on the list. Matt,
Yay!
non-traditional Christmas.
Oh, you see, I would definitely have put it on. Yeah, definitely put it. I know we're getting down to the chaff at the bottom here, the chaff at the bottom of the list here, but I would have put it on. I think it's a great movie. Mel Gibson, you forget how much of a great actor he is. You know, acting a lot of B movies, a lot of low budget movies at the moment. Some good, some good, some bad, and yes, he is a bit de rigueur at the moment, and he you know, he's got his problems. Fair enough. But he is a great actor, and a great director as well. And you know, Richard Donner, bless him. We've spoken about Richard Donner quite a few times on this podcast. You know, his movie seems to pop up quite often. And scripted by Shane Black, fantastic. I love the opening. It's kind of got this, you know, what's going to happen, and there's huge, you know, the girl jumping off the top of the. I don't want to spoil it, but anyway, he buys a Christmas tree, isn't it? Doesn't he buy he literally buys a Christmas tree, and it's set.
Well, it's a drug deal in a Christmas tree lot.
In a Christmas tree, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It is a very good movie. Now, can someone tell me, is this the movie where Danny Glover is stuck on the toilet with the bomb on the toilet,
No,
or is it the second
that's
one?
two.
That's
No,
the
that's
second
two.
one.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
Right. See, I prefer the second one over the first one, but there's obviously it's nothing to do with Christmas in the second one. But yeah, it's got to go on. Love it. Very, very good. And like Rob, I like all the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah, I think
even the fourth
great
one
series.
with Jet Li, I quite like that one as well. They're good. They're good.
Yeah.
So yes.
Chris, it's got 4 votes. Would it have been 5?
I'm pleading diplomatic immunity.
One of the best lines from number 2.
It's a good film. I think there are better films to go on, but yeah, it's on. And incidentally, you're right. I apologize. 1987. If you Google Lethal Weapon, Google says 1989. Go figure.
Google got it wrong.
Google got it wrong. I databased it, and yeah, they gave me the 87. So it's round to me, and I'm really torn because the movie that I think I'm going to nominate. I know I'm probably going to get some flack for, but I don't care because I thought it was brilliant. And I wasn't the only one who thought it was brilliant because it won Best Picture at the Academy Awards of the year that it came out. And it won Best Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali. I think Green Book is outstanding. I can't believe it came from a director who is renowned for his comedy work, and telling the story of these two guys touring the South. They have nothing in common and find out that they have so much in common through this road trip. I think, and it is an alternative Christmas movie. The movie is about him eventually trying to get home for Christmas. It has all of those Christmas family feels towards the end of this film. I know that it has its critics, and I can't really speak to that. I can only speak to how I felt when I watched the movie, and that was that it blew me away. I think it is a brilliant movie. I think it deserved its Best Picture win the year that it came out, and I think it's a film that you would definitely appreciate more watching at Christmas time. So my nomination is actually Green Book. Rob, do you like Green Book?
It's funny because, again, it was another film that I completely overlooked that to put on my list of, that we were trying to compile for non-traditional Christmas movies. And so, yeah, I'd forgotten that it makes a lot of Christmas references. And as you correctly said, they're effectively trying to get home for Christmas. But yeah, I love this film. It's brilliant. It's just such a good film. Like you said, it had its critics. It's all subjective at the end of the day. But I just thought the performances from the two leads were just superb. Just such a good film. Very engaging. Never a slow moment in the film. It was just constantly edge of the seat stuff. Really, really good storyline. So yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
Nice one. Matt, Green Book?
No. I don't really have a particular reason. I'll be honest. I've only ever seen it once. I couldn't remember the Christmassy references that you're on about. I remember enjoying it a lot. I think Viggo Mortensen is brilliant in this. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Not sure I would have said it should have won the Best Picture. I don't think it was the Best Picture win. It should have been the Best Picture winner for that year. Having seen Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice was a brilliant movie that year. I think that should have won, to be honest. But yeah, it's a great movie, but I just don't get the Christmassy stuff from it. Again, it's another one, and I'll be honest, and I've been honest, it's another one that I did enjoy, but I've only ever seen it once, and I can't really say that it would leap up there. I haven't got it on my list, and there's a few others there that I think might deserve a better place for the last spot.
Okay. Chris, did you enjoy Green Book?
I did enjoy Green Book. I think it's a very good film, but I agree with Matt. I don't find it a Christmas film, and one of the things that I kind of based my list on was films that I would want to watch around Christmas, and Green Book wouldn't be one of them. So it's a no for me.
Okay. John? You get to decide.
You're not going to get any flack from me, but unfortunately, I haven't seen it.
Watch
it's
it
not
this
one
Christmas,
I've
John.
caught up with. I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice.
After the Queen's speech on Christmas Day.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no. I'll have to stand down for that one.
Okay. All right. So Green Book doesn't make it. So
no, it's all right.
We've made 6 films from our first 10. We got one more spot. Rob, you're guesting this week. Can you give us the last one?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Right.
What have you got left? What you got left?
Now. because a lot of the ones that are on my list have already been mentioned.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go for that one, but it's so tenuous. I'm not sure any of you would have seen this choice that I could go for, so I will probably pass on that one. All right, I'm going to go.
Don't forget, you can mention these later.
Okay, I will mention it later. Then I'll park that one for later. All right, I'm going.
Yeah,
to
Breakfast
go...
Club doesn't count.
Gosh.
They were into tension.
I championed that.
Probably. Okay, so I am going to go for Die Hard 2.
Die Harder.
You've got to Die Harder.
Yeah. It feels even more Christmassy because it's snowing. It's as simple as that. I love this film because it's. I know it's simple. Like certain films can just have a little element that can just make it feel like it's Christmas, and that for me,
Rob, sorry to interject.
Yep.
And this is not your tenuous one.
This is not my tenuous one. I've got an even more tenuous one. Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay.
It's a great sequel.
No.
If I expand upon it, it's a great sequel. I think it's a great story. I'm quite nerdy and I like aviation as well. So I just found it a very fascinating story. Of course, I don't want to do any spoilers for people who might not have seen it. But yeah, it's set around Christmas and it's snowing. So Die Hard 2 is my next nomination.
Okay. Matt? Die Hard 2? Die Harder? Is it a non-traditional Christmas movie?
It's a stretch, isn't it? It's a stretch. I think probably there's another one floating around there, and I'm not just speaking about me. I probably don't have it because I've got a random pile of old nonsense here. But there may be some other one. I just don't see it. It's a great movie. I love it. The first 3 Die Hard movies are really good. I enjoy them immensely, and this one especially. It's longer. They seem to have had a bigger budget. I enjoyed the airport setting. I was a big fan of the airport movies or the airplane comedies. But also, do you ever remember the airport movies? I don't even know if they were their names, where the planes like literally crashed. I mean, that's where airplanes.
Airport 77.
Airport 77.
Yeah, man, I was big. I love disaster movies. From the 70s. Just like Die Hard was a throwback to the Towering Inferno, another great 70s disaster movie. Yeah. Fantastic movie. And so this is a throwback to those kind of airport disaster movies. And it's such good fun. You've got William Sadler playing the is he a colonel? He's a colonel, isn't he? He's a colonel. And he's making me think of like Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now. He's got that kind of nutty feel about him. He's like, and also the character that what's his name played in Jerry Bruckheimer's movie that we spoke about, The Rock. What's his name? Ed Harris. He's got that kind of.
Yes.
Obviously Ed Harris's character had a reason for what he was doing, whereas William Sadler not so much in this movie. But yeah, it's great, and I see where Rob's coming from. It's got that Christmassy feel. Lots of snow, lots of skidoos, and some great explosions, some great action sequences. And it's a very, very good ending as well. Very good ending and good comedy as always, which is what you need in good action movies. Is some good comedy.
Yeah, agreed.
But that's a no. Sorry. Sorry, I never said that. I said it's a no. It's a no. What? It's a no. I love that it's a no for me. Sorry, I never said. It's a no.
I love Die Hard 2 as well, and I think the only reason I didn't mention it because it is set at Christmas. I'm not going nuts, am I? It is set at Christmas.
Yeah,
he's picking up Holly to take her to
take her home
parents
for Christmas.
For Christmas,
for Christmas. He's there at He's there at the airport picking her up
Adjudicator,
for Christmas.
adjudicator. Somebody's
I'm
looking.
pretty certain that is the.
I thought it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
No, it's for
Was it
Christmas.
It's a
I'm
holiday
sure.
season.
I'm
It is
sure-
Christmas Eve.
I
Yeah.
thought-
Yeah, it is Christmas Eve. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
it is. It definitely falls into this, and I do love me some Die Hard 2 as well as the original Die Hard.
It's not as synonymous
So-
with Christmas though as the first one, is it?
It's
No.
not.
If
but I
at
think that's
all.
just because the first one is a Christmas movie, and that's what people just have the argument about. And the second movie isn't the first movie. It isn't as good. It's still a really good action movie. With some
Yeah.
great
Paul,
comedy.
there must be others that you have. I'm sure you've got others on your
I
list
know.
that you
I've
would
got.
rather
I've
put
got
on there.
about. My top 7 had 4 Shane Black movies in it. So I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I had 4 Shane Black movies in my top 7, and Die Hard 2 wasn't one of them. So Rob, I'm going to say no just because of that. Because there's 2 other Shane Black movies that are very Christmassy that I would have said
Okay.
yes to. So,
I mean,
Chris?
going to the snow reference, I could have chosen Empire Strikes Back just because of the the snowy planet of Hoth. So that looks like Christmas. But
And you thought it smelled bad on the outside.
extremely tender. Yeah. No.
That's where Santa comes from. Santa comes from there. That's where it comes from. The planet off.
And his
Chris,
snow
we'll be
speeder and
We'll
12
be
tauntauns.
covering Life Day another time, Rob. Sorry.
We will. Die Hard 2, Chris?
I'm sorry, Rob. Your nomination has come at the wrong place at the wrong time. It's a no from me.
Okay.
So it hasn't made it. John, what have you said? Yes to Die Hard 2?
No, I wouldn't have actually. Yes, it's set in an airport at Christmas, but as part of a trilogy rewatch. In fact, I like all 4 of them actually.
I don't mind 4.
No.
5 is one of the worst
I like
movies
4.
I've ever seen.
Just remind me what
Yes.
4
I like
is. This is
4.
the problem. It's 4 the one where the guy's in the lorry and he's
The cyber one, yeah.
the side
Yeah,
one.
the
that's
one.
it,
Yeah. And that
It's
one's
all
fine.
right.
Dude, you
but
just
5
killed a
is-
helicopter with
5
a
is
car.
awful.
Yeah, I ran out of bullets. So
Right.
yes.
So, Rob, I'm sorry, Die Hard 2 hasn't made the list. So, Matt,
Okay.
you're there, mate. Can you give us the
God, it's
last
me
one?
again.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Who's going
Go
after
on.
me? Who's
Chris.
after me, Paul? Chris. Oh, okay.
Chris.
Chris won't choose this one. See, I don't want to talk about. I want to nominate the one that I know that Paul will agree on because we both enjoy it a lot. But I can't really talk about it because I literally
Tactical.
No. Oh,
Is it in
man.
your top 5? Has it been picked yet?
I'm gonna nominate the first foreign film that I think we've ever nominated for any of our
nice.
top 5 lists. I'm gonna go for
Ever.
rare,
Wow.
rare exports from I think 2010. It's a Finnish film. I'm not even going to try and butcher the names of the actors in there by trying to pronounce them correctly. But this is an alternative telling of the story of Santa Claus's origins. It's a grim fairy tale in the style, not the style, but in the sense of Tim Burton. There's no Tim Burton style there, but it's actually filmed really beautifully. Gorgeous sense of style, beautiful film stock that they use, gorgeous lenses, beautifully directed. And it's a really grim tale. We're stuck in the far north of Finland, right in there in the Arctic Circle, and you've got a dig going on what would be, as we would call, a barrow in England. A large earthen mound, but this is more of a mountain, and there's a dig going on there by a corporation, a conglomerate, a business conglomerate who are digging through the ground as we learn to try and excavate something. And then we go further down to the bottom of this mountain, and there is a family who are their livelihood depends on the reindeer, herding reindeer, I'm assuming slaughtering them for the meat. As the I think it's the Sami people in Finland that they're generationally related to. So everything is based for them around the economy of reindeer, especially in the winter months. And all these reindeer have been slaughtered, and no one knows why. So we don't know whether it's wolves or we don't know whether it's something else that's going on. Anyway, so I get down to it, and there's a father and son who live alone in a farm, and it's covered in snow, and he is convinced that he knows what's going on, this little boy, and he from what he's reading, we understand that he's obsessed with the true nature of Santa Claus, this vicious, and it turns out you see it all in these old books that he's reading, these illustrated books, this vicious Santa Claus. He's not Santa Claus of that we know, who is the Father Christmas, who comes and gives presents to children around the globe. This Santa Claus is a murderous son of a bitch, and he eats children. It's fantastic. It's very short. It's very slight. It's something new. I think it's underrated. I don't think a lot of people will have seen it. It should be highlighted, and I think it's a future classic, to be honest. The only thing that sets it back is the fact that it's in the Finnish language, and for a lot of people, they won't watch it for that reason. They may watch it dubbed. I would advise against doing that, but if it means that you see the movie, then great, watch it dubbed. And I'm sure you can get it on some streaming services. But it's a fabulous film, and again, I will say it's got a brilliant ending, and man, is that the biggest explosion I've ever seen in my entire life at the end. Absolutely incredible. It blows anything out of Die Hard out of the water. This thing explodes. I won't explain what it is, but it explodes at the end, and my god, it's the biggest explosion you've ever seen. It's a really, really good movie, strictly for Christmas, but a really good movie.
I would have probably agreed with you with the other nomination, Matt, but I'm going to agree with you on this one as well. It's the 7th spot, and this is brilliant. Rare Exports, I remember reading about it when it came out, and I instantly wanted to see it. I saw it, and it's great. It is scary. It is, it's... For me, I know lots of people haven't seen it because it is a foreign language film, but it really should not put you off. You should check this movie out. This Santa that eats children. Yes, I'm saying yes. John, you seen Rare Exports?
Yes, I have. In fact, I watched it last night. Curled up, going to sleep, watching evil Santas. Well, in fact, evil elves.
Evil elves. Yeah.
Attacking, trying to bring Santa back. I like this. I actually watched this on IMDb TV, and they threw in. It was throwing in adverts every so often, but apart from that, the language barrier didn't really do anything for me. I'm used to watching some foreign language films anyway. But I actually really liked it. And considering I was watching another film of sort of the same idea, but not quite, I think I actually prefer this one. So yeah, I'm going to say yes. I think
nice one.
I think this should be on the
Matt,
list.
Rare Exports has made the list, and we have 7. Chris, Rare Exports?
It was my number 10, so I'm okay with it going on.
Nice one. And Rob, Rare Exports, have you checked out this movie?
Well, I'm relieved that the vote doesn't come down to my choice, because unfortunately I've not seen it, but it looks and sounds amazing, so I'm definitely going to check it out.
Nice one, nice one. So we have 7 films, guys. We have Die Hard, we have Batman Returns, we have Trading Places, we have Love Actually, we have Gremlins, we have Lethal Weapon, and we have Rare Exports. Let's go round and see if anything is missing from this list. Chris, you would have been next in nominations. Have you got 1, 2, or 3 films that are missing from this list?
Quite a few of my films have not been mentioned, actually.
Okay.
Thank you.
What have you got?
No, that was Snigger because there's about 6 of mine that haven't been mentioned as well. That's why I laughed.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So we talked about A Nightmare Before Christmas for our classic Christmas one, and I did not have it on my list for that because I do not see it as a classic Christmas film. I see it as an alternative, gothic, dark Christmas / Halloween film. So that was my number 5. But I don't think people would go with that one. Also, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I didn't nominate that for the traditional one because it's not a family film. It's a grown-up film. There's lots of swearing and adult humor. And I think it's a fantastic Christmas film. My Christmas is not complete without watching that film.
The problem is that this is the crew that watched it for the John Hughes podcast and very much did not like it, Chris.
Okay.
Much to Ollie's chagrin, wasn't it? He was very upset.
Ollie was not happy.
Ollie.
This was his thirst chance.
mind it.
This was his thirst chance to get in the National Lampoons on the John Hughes.
we had literally all of them, didn't we? We went through all of them.
He nominated them all. Yeah. But yeah. Anything else?
But the one that I want to flag the most, well, Krampus is another one.
Yeah,
it's all right. It's good. It's good.
That was my number 9. But the one that I think gets overlooked or forgotten about is a film from 1974, 4 years before John Carpenter invented the slasher film, Black Christmas, which is a fantastic horror slasher film where a serial killer stalks a sorority house. Sorority. Just at the start of the holidays, and it's great. It's very low budget, very gritty, dark, and yeah, the actual original slasher film.
Okay, there's 3 there. John, anything missing for you?
A couple for me, and they're both kind of, well, Krampus. Yes, I think Krampus. Talking about rare exports, Krampus is kind of like the same beastie and the same feels. 2 romantic ones, The Holiday, which I have a pleasure for as opposed to a guilty pleasure for, because I actually think it's a good role for Jack Black. I think Kate Winslet is always good in everything, and it's a really sweet. I think it's is it Nora Ephron? A really sweet Nora Ephron film. Yeah. And the other one being Serendipity, John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. Let fate decide whether they should be together or not, and it just so happens to be round about Christmas time, and around his wedding, when it all comes. She gets engaged just before, and he's getting married a couple of days later, and it all kicks off, and fate intervenes. I think it's another sweet, not over schmaltzy film, and Jeremy Piven's actually rather good in it as well. So Yeah.
Okay. Matt, anything missing from yours?
Um, yeah, I like. I'll let you talk about the other one, Paul, when it comes around to you. The Shane Black one. I like In Bruges. I think that's a good movie set around Christmas. Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, as a pair of dodgy geezers, hitmen who are holding out in Bruges. The titular title, the city, and they are getting up to no good there. And Colin Farrell's very bored, and stuff happens. And great cameo by Ralph Fiennes. Very well acted all around, very funny, very good. It's a great movie. You should see it. I love Carol, the movie Carol. Kate Blanchett, Rooney Mara. I used to say Mara, but apparently I was looking up today and it's Mara. Beautiful film. Two women in the 1950s. It straddles the Christmas season between 1951 and 1952. You've got an older woman who is struggling with her marriage. She's going through a divorce. She has a child. This is Kate Blanchett. And you've got a young girl, Rooney Mara, who is working in a department store, and their eyes meet. And we know that there's in the 1950s that this kind of relationship was frowned upon. It was in fact looked upon as immoral, illegal. And it's a beautiful movie. It's Todd Haynes, the director. It's gorgeous, it's immaculate, it's impeccably filmed. The score by Carter Burwell is just it's so impressive. I love it. I think it's wonderful, and it's got one of the best endings possible. These kind of movies you don't think are going to have good endings. It really does. I love it. I love it, and I absolutely implore anyone to see this movie. Yes, it's about a couple who have a relationship that is so cruelly looked upon in the 1950s as immoral, and the struggles that they go through. And you've got Rooney Mara as the young girl who's trying to explore her first relationship. She doesn't know what's going on. She wants to explore her feelings, and you've got Kate Blanchett who is being kept away from her daughter because of her husband's knowledge of as they describe it, immoral acts, and he takes her to court. It's a beautiful movie. Please do watch it if you've not seen it. And I would like to say The Children of Men. Children of Men. I think that is an alternative nativity story. I think that is
That is a
is
great film.
basically
It's a great
a
movie.
film about a virgin birth. I think it is a retelling of the nativity story, and it's a very tenuous link. And hopefully this movie will get onto some other lists because it is a phenomenal movie. It's absolutely tremendous. So maybe we'll talk about that again in the future. Yeah, I'm going to stop there.
Nice one. Rob, anything we missed from you?
Yeah, my tenuous one. Extremely tenuous, because the only reference to Christmas is in the title, but it's not really it's extremely tenuous. But I wanted to mention it because it is a great movie. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's a tough watch, because it's centered around a Japanese prisoner of war camp. It stars David Bowie and a phenomenal performance. Tom Conti as well. Ryuichi Sakamoto. The soundtrack is done by Ryuichi Sakamoto and I think David Sylvian from the band Japan. It's such a good film. It's gripping. It's depressing in places, gritty, but very realistic. But it's gold. It's a great film. But I think as far as non-traditional Christmas movies go, it was extremely tenuous. So that's why I didn't sort of put it forward as one of my nominations.
No worries. My three that I've missed. A film called Millions. British film about a young boy who finds a suitcase full of £1 million notes, full of pound notes, £5 notes, £10 notes that were going out of circulation, and they are it's people who were stealing them, and they were chucking them off a train, and a kid finds a suitcase full of money, and it's trying to decide what to do with that money in and around Christmas time. It's a beautiful British movie. I think everybody should check out Millions if you haven't. And then my two Shane Black movies that haven't been mentioned. The first one, Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson in The Long Kiss Goodnight. I've loved this movie. It came out. It's just a
film.
fun action movie. Gina Davis' character has amnesia. She's an assassin. She can't remember who she is. And she's just living a life as a suburban mum. And she gets spotted at Christmas time playing Mrs. Claus in the local family Christmas pageant. And there's a great scene with her ice skating across a lake, firing a gun. I think it's definitely classes as an alternative film to watch at Christmas. And that movie that Matt was going to mention, and I was going to mention, I think, is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which I think is an absolutely wonderful film. It is completely underrated. It is a
great film.
whodunit set at Christmas time, directed by Shane Black, who is a man who loves Christmas. Robert Downey Jr. before he was Iron Man. Wonderful turn from him. Val Kilmer, I think, is an underrated gem of Hollywood, playing Gay Perry in this movie. He is absolutely brilliant. I think this was I didn't mention it because although it is set at Christmas time, it is very adjacent to the story. But in terms of film quality, I think this was the best film. This is the best film that's been mentioned today, in my opinion. I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is absolutely brilliant, and if you haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you should watch it.
It's massively underrated. Massively underrated.
I have two honourable mentions which were not on my list, which I would just like to remind people of, because I wonder whether anyone was going to talk about any of these films. Passion of the Christ and Last Temptation of Christ.
I didn't even but
That's right. Can I say as well, like in the same vein, I put this to John. I said The Life of Brian could have gone on there as well, because Graham Chapman's character was born next door to the stable where Jesus was born. You see,
that's a great.
So we could have had that. We could have had that as well.
It is,
I think
it is
all very good.
shout.
I love the Passion of the Christ. Temptation of the Christ is a tough watch. Well, they both are actually, aren't
Passions,
they?
just
Passions.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
My mum always regales us of the tale of my grandfather making her watch the 4-hour Greatest Story Ever Told, just so we can see John Wayne at the end and say the last lines of the film. And that's all he's in the film for, and that's the only reason they watched the 3.5, 4-hour film. So
wow. All right, guys. Well, there was a lot to choose from on this list, but we ended up with 7. We ended up with Die Hard, Batman Returns, Trading Places, Love Actually, Gremlins, Lethal Weapon, and Rare Exports. They are our 7. We've got to lose 2. Chris, I think I know what it's going to be, but what goes for you?
Love Actually.
Yep. Rob?
Oh, it's tough. I would have to choose Rare Exports only because I've not seen it.
Fair enough. Matt?
For me, it's a toss-up between Batman and Love Actually. So I'm gonna go for Love Actually, because I'm a hard soul.
John?
I'm going to go for Love Actually as well. So,
okay.
Yeah, you kind of talked me into it.
I did. I really did. I know that I did. So, and I I honestly, even though I hadn't, and because I hadn't thought of it before, I probably would have said Batman Returns. I'm afraid that would have been my vote. So Love Actually has gone. I've gone for Batman Returns. Rob has gone for Rare Exports. So, Chris, what have you got?
Rare exports.
Rare Exports. Matt?
Yeah, Batman Returns. Only because I love Tim Burton, and if I'd have seen it more, I've only ever seen it once in the cinema, and I've never watched it again. So for me, that's got to go.
Okay.
But I do love Tim
John?
Burton.
I'm going to say Trading Places.
Okay. I liked your honesty there, John, because you've done that. But in actual fact, you've got to choose between Batman Returns and Rare Exports because they have 2 votes each.
Oh God! In that case, unfortunately, it's going to be Rare Exports.
So Rare Exports with 3 votes has gone from the list. So we do have our top 5, which is, in no particular order at the moment, Die Hard, Batman Returns, Trading Places, Gremlins, and Lethal Weapon. John, myself, and Matt have voted. So, Chris, what have you got of those 5?
Lethal Weapon.
And Rob.
Oh, this is tough. Yeah, Lethal Weapon as well.
Okay, so John,
You're doing this to me
down to
again.
you again, mate.
What is it?
Lethal Weapon or Batman Returns at 5?
Oh,
You nominated them both.
I know.
Ha!
But
Where
I
are they on your
think,
list, John?
Yeah,
I
tell us
think
that.
no, actually, Batman Returns
Who's your
is
favourite
actually
child?
at the top.
Show us your cards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Batman Returns was at number 1. So
Well, there you go. Give us
Batman
your
Returns.
answer.
So yeah, Lethal. It's going to be Lethal Weapon then.
So Lethal Weapon is our number 5
Okay.
for this week. Wow.
Very
Okay.
honest of John. That's refreshing. Very honest.
It was. So Rob and Chris, your votes again. So Chris, what have you got?
Trading Places.
Trading Places. And Rob, of what's left?
Gremlins.
Gremlins. So Rob, even though you've said Gremlins, you've got to choose between Trading Places and Batman Returns because you're the outlying vote.
Oh, okay.
What goes at number 4?
Oh, goes at number 4. Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is this week's number 4. So I need to vote. Whew. I'm voting Gremlins. So Rob's voted for Gremlins. I've voted for Gremlins. Trading Places from John. Trading Places from Chris. So Matt, what are you going for?
Okay, this is my top 3. Without giving away what they were in order, well, I suppose I'm going to have to, aren't I?
Yeah. What's number 3?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Well, that's giving away what's number 1.
Number 3 on this list.
I'll be honest, it's Gremlins. It's Gremlins. For me, it's more Christmassy than Trading Places, but I would have put Gremlins. Well, Gremlins is 3rd, so.
There we go. Nice bit of honesty.
Man.
So everybody, number 1, Trading Places or Die Hard. It's Die Hard for me. Rob, number one.
Choosing my number one. Oh, this is so
Yeah.
tough. I love both of these films. Oh, I'm going to go Die Hard.
Die Hard.
It'll annoy my sister, but I'm going to go Die Hard.
John, what's number one?
Number one of those two is Die Hard.
And Chris, if it wasn't obvious.
A t-shirt's a giveaway.
Hans, Booby, I'm your white knight. Die Hard, number one.
And it doesn't really matter, but Matt, would Die Hard have been your number one?
I would have been the outlier, I'm afraid. I would have put Trading Places above it. If it had been Planes, Trains and Automobiles, that would have been number one. But I had to replace it with something else, and it was Trading Places. But for me, it doesn't really matter because Die Hard is he's the prince, he's the king of Nakatomi Plaza. It's got to be number one. So I'm happy.
Nice one. So running down this week's alternative, non-traditional Christmas top 5. At number 5, Lethal Weapon. At number 4, Batman Returns. At number 3, Gremlins. At number 2, Trading Places. And at number 1, non-traditional alternative Christmas movie is Die Hard.
Play the sting!
It had to be, didn't it? It had to be Die Hard. It had to be.
It had to be.
There's no other option.
No, I mean it could have got on the traditional list. It's
inevitable. Yeah.
It's the number one.
Could have topped both. Yeah, could have topped both.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Signing
Thank you.
off. Chris, anything to say?
No, just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Excellent. Matt?
Yeah, sentiments exactly. I hope you have had a wonderful Christmas, or you will be having a wonderful Christmas.
Yeah, we'll be having a wonderful Christmas.
Please do your shopping. buy your loved ones something nice. Enjoy your Christmas drinks and your Christmas dinner, and eat some mince pies and be merry and happy. See you soon.
Indeed. John?
Okay. Check us out on all the socials. You'll find us at 5 on Film Podcast on all of them, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are on your local pod scraper, or Spotify and iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Find us on YouTube, watching us do this. If you please get in touch with us, we want to talk to you. We want to do this for you. Feel free, please come talk to us.
Indeed. And Rob, thank you for joining us for this week's episode.
Cheers, Bobby.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you,
very
guys.
much. It's nice
Merry
to have
Christmas,
our first
everyone.
guest back on at Christmas.
Please come back. You'll come back again. Won't you? Look at your records
I will
behind
do.
there. What a record collection. Can I just say, Rob, you should start a record podcast. Look at how many records you got back there.
I should have gone to my other room to go in front of my DVDs.
Oh, you got more? Oh, okay.
I got shelves of old DVDs and what have you, but my spare bedroom's a bit of a mess, so that's what
I'm loving that collection, mate. I'm loving that collection of records.
Oh, thank you.
They're all
feeling 78s. They're all old 78s.
I doubt that.
Feeling a music biopic podcast coming Rob's way one day.
Yeah, we could do that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Best soundtracks, best top 5 soundtracks in movies. There we go. We should have that one.
It's
Rob.
funny because I was going to suggest it actually. You read my mind.
Nice one.
I've got a few
Nice
ideas.
one.
So yeah, maybe for the
There's
future.
some ideas going there, and as John said, if you've got any ideas, please send them our way. And a Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas time. Enjoy it, and have a happy New Year. And we will see you in the new year with more shows. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
All views expressed in this podcast are that of the individual and do not represent the views of any entity whatsoever which they have been or will be affiliated with in the future.